welcome everyone to our, I think, 7th week of, or 8th week of the working group for Upstream Diversity. We have no announcements right now. And I have the first agenda item. I just wanted to get an update on whether on the vendors we've spoken to. So I've spoken with 2 vendors this week. One is iHub, and one I followed up with another vendor I was already talking to about hardware, which was a Restart project. But this week I spoke to the iHub project. They are a organization who is located in Nigeria, Rwanda, and Kenya. They sort of offer lessons in STEM and computer science to children in these countries as well. They have multiple ways for us to collaborate. One is the Teach the Teacher type of program where coaches of GitLab could help the teachers getting content up to date and inserting new type of material for them to learn, as well as that they do sort of guest lectures or career development videos of coaches. Overall, I thought it was a great project. And the second thing, what we can also do with them is to donate hardware to the teachers lounge, what they call it. So the teachers then use it for their students. I want to say it's children from the age of 5 to I think 20 to use that hardware and look at that hardware. So a lot of possibilities there. I didn't work out all the full meeting notes yet, but I will, and I will update it to the issue. Do others have other updates on vendors they have reached out to? I see Craig has one update. I will move that up here. Okay, so Craig is not in the meeting. He said he reached out to A Cloud Guru and CBT Nuggets. The firm encourages our work and initiative, but is no longer able to partner with us on time. No word from the latter. Okay, so we still have to wait on that. Possibilities. Edmund, you have the next bullet. Sorry, I don't hear you. Do you hear him?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, sorry.
My fault. Yeah, so I had additional correspondence with 1 month, and I've updated the vendor spreadsheet with that. They have a free HTML course that they're willing to offer up. They have another course, I can't remember if it was Python or Java or JavaScript, I should say, that they may be able to offer up as well for our use as something that we can help others with. And they have some paid courses that they may be able to offer up on a limited quantity. I get the impression that their course materials are not necessarily owned by them, but also by authors, and that they have some obligations around that. So, but he does support the initiative and has a pretty widely used, read, or at least distributed newsletter that he's willing to have us contribute to, which is not something that they normally do, but in accordance with the fact that we're not trying to have any financial gain with this and really help the community, he's open to that as well.
Awesome, great. So that's more of a, would that be a one-off thing, or what do you?
Too early to say.
Okay, all right. Good, thanks for the updates. Are there any other updates on vendors?
I did send out an email to Katakota and the Odin project last Monday. I have not heard back from them, but I haven't tried any other avenues, so I could try reaching out a different way.
All right, cool, thanks. I think we're, so when I looked up all the vendors we've reached out to, we already have a pretty significant list, I want to say. So currently we have 20 approximately we had on our list, and we at least tried to reach out to. So I do think we have a pretty significant list there, which would put us in a position where we could go to scoring next Tuesday to further determine, like, okay, what are the 5 vendors we're really going to collaborate with and establish that collaboration within the next 3 weeks. So that brings me to my second point as well. I aligned with Candace, so she couldn't join the meeting, but she has reached out to another 4 vendors and I asked her, like, hey, what do you normally score your DIB vendors on, right? Like, what's things you're looking for? She said it's mission, it's resources, so how much resource they already have and how structured they are or not. Budget, so whether it's a budget we need to donate or sponsor with a set budget, or we can only donate time. Locations, so are they aiming at one locations, are they more global, do they have different locations? Impact, so they look at like how many people they are impacting, what's their reach. And then the last criteria is like other partners. I think with Correct last time we had a vendor who was also partnering or heavily sponsored by Microsoft or GitHub, so and that's also something they look out for. And for example, she does a due diligence process looking at like press, right? Looking at, have they been in the press, and might that be affecting GitLab if we're going to collaborate with them. So I copied over those criteria to the scoring sheet, and I can share my screen real quick. I used the format of the IC gearing ratio. So here on the bottom, there's now the scoring with these criteria, which I just mentioned, what these mean, these criteria, and then looking at like, okay, what are the options, right? We've spoken to at least. Not sure if I entered all of the options in here, so it would be great if you can review and at least enter the ones you've been speaking to, so we can use this for scoring on our meeting next Tuesday. So I want to really dedicate like that time, and maybe also part of the next meeting, so we can get to a scoped 5 vendors in the next week, so we can build out those collaborations. I want to open up for questions, ideas on the criteria. Maybe how we've defined those. Is there anything missing?
Just reading them over again.
Would we want to add something around open source, like being more inclined to work with a partner who's also dedicated to open source than one who doesn't have that as a core aspect?
Yeah, it would be good if it sort of overlapped our values. So maybe that's transparency.
Yeah, I like that. Should we put that on a mission, or should we add like GitLab values alignment or something?
That's a good point. We should be able to tell, I think, from their own description of their mission, perhaps.
We would, or we would not. Sorry, I missed the actual word.
I think we should be able to tell from their mission statements and information. Yeah.
So maybe we could do with the mission, right? We could say now aligned with GitLab's values, and then transparency, and then the other would be high aligned. Yeah, love that.
For resources bullet point, are we talking, what are some examples of resources? What does that mean?
Yeah, so Candace mentioned is that it's whether they are for profit or not, and whether they have like a structured way of going about, or whether this is something to carve out more. Like, so it was a bit on resources on their side, I think.
So what resources do they have available to work with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the size of the organization, the corporate backing, I don't know if that's sort of a thing that we consider, like who are they working with, partnering with?
Yeah, and whether they are for profit or not.
Whether they're for profit or not, okay.
Yeah, I think that's we rather work with, or that's me, this is my assumption maybe, but we rather work with not-for-profits, because we're also don't, right? I think that would be, or we could also end up with somebody who is for profit, or like with a vendor who is for profits, but then has a huge reach, for example, right? Like that's why the scoring mechanism might help, because we can then identify, hey, where can we have the most impact?
Would it be challenging if the organization worked or partnered with another organization that maybe had a conflict of interest with us, perhaps a competing organization? Does that matter?
Yeah, I tried to capture that under, what is it, 6.6
Other
of the
partners,
criteria,
sorry.
like other partners, what are they associated with? No, it's a good question, right? We might want to refrain from partnering with vendors who are associated with maybe also partners which are not aligned with our values.
I think on that point, I wouldn't be worried about competition. It might actually be really cool if we would say, hey, on this front, we're partners with GitHub or something like that. In other words, like we're crossing the line for this issue because it's about humanity. So I wouldn't worry about competition, but it does make sense to kind of like do some diligence on these things. And at the extreme, you could look at the Southern Poverty Law Center list of hate groups and say if any of these are listed. And there's probably some middle ground of things we would want to consider, but it's hard to think through without seeing the list. So.
Thank you for saying that. I think that makes it a little bit less vague when you say GitHub was sort of the elephant in the room.
Yeah, we have one competitor, so.
Okay.
True. Okay, so I might have misphrased that from Craig. So I was thinking like probably maybe the vendor doesn't want to work with us on that front, but yeah, that might be good.
My question was too vague. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I introduced it on a different way too. Good. Okay, so one action item I want to ask y'all to do is the vendors you've been in contact with. So that would be, so for me it would be IHELP, but for like Mo, the Freed Co-Camp, to score, or to at least make sure you have review the criteria for them, and to see, to bring that to the meeting on next Tuesday, and so that we can do the scoring. We might have a lot of vendors to go through, so it's best if everybody prepares with their vendors already, and then we can just systematically over the meeting go through like, hey, tell me about these 6 things for this vendor, and then we can move on to next, and then we can hopefully get to a scoring at least next Wednesday, by the end of next Wednesday. Ask, review your vendors on the criteria above,
Okay.
before the meeting. So the meeting will be efficient to go through. Okay, good. Then I had point 3. So our first exit criteria closed. Yes, we had 27 team members sign up as GitLab coaches. I closed the exit criteria. We'll do the matching after we've determined the vendors, and then we will ask them to sign up via a form, which is called the Be a Bridge form, to match them to whatever initiative they're interested in. Do we have anything else to discuss?
I'd like to share one thing. So like for my own personal learning, I've had the need to learn Golang just for the work that we do here. So I decided to go through the Free Code Camp Golang course just to see if I would even like the curriculum. Like, do I want to use it? Do I like learning from it? Is this something that I feel like I could help others if I were part of some form of partnership with an organization? I don't know how to measure that. It's sort of a subjective thing. I don't know if it has an impact on our scoring or not. Hopefully the curriculums that we choose or the partnerships that we choose are things that we enjoy doing and are fun.
I would say in terms of measurement, like just Bo as an individual should give an up-down vote, and then let's get some other set of individuals to do the same thing. So you have like a Boolean yes or no, but then you get it from 5 people, and then you can give it like an 80% sort of score and get more granularity there, which takes objectivity out of it. So say maybe like 5 people should, you know, we'll develop a list of finalists. Maybe 5 people go through all the curriculum, and we can score it that way, and helps contribute to the choice.
I feel much more comfortable like promoting it if we've had people go through it and experience it before trying to get others on board. So I love that idea. So it may not impact our scoring for this round, but it may for the next round when we get to the final N number of vendors, right? Oh, you're just Sorry, that's all I had to share.
Good, awesome. All right. Anything else we can? Okay, good. So then we'll end 6 minutes early. Thanks all. And I'm looking forward to our scoring meeting on next Tuesday. And I'll see you there.